Hey, I'm Kev Hillman. Welcome back to Monster Energy Supercross, says Kev Hillman was ecstatic after the last round in Detroit. Will he be after the race in St. Louis? But here's Hillman at a very exciting track here in St. Louis. Lots of big jumps like that final one. Should suit him a treat. Just like Detroit did in the end. Boy, did he leave it to the last second. This is a pretty good lap already. Look at this, making that a triple. Can he make this one a triple as well? Just about. And then we've got this fast section as well. This should be a track which really suits Hillman, because he doesn't take that left hand at all. Well, let's set up these jumps. Well, where it can be very easy to crash. Someone just demonstrated. As he goes into the hairpin, just about holding on into these massive whoop section. He's right behind someone in a massive jump. Can he make this a triple? Not quite. But then you've got the tightest section of the track. You've got this jump into this left-hander and into the right uphill. A massive jump down before you go over the start-finish line, and still quickest so far. Hillman, as always, lands on the back of that rider. He takes his own line, managed to make that work. And he was pretty good at St. Louis last year, just had too many mistakes. So Hillman expecting to be strong once again, a bit like Detroit. He gets pushed wide there, just about survives going over the blocks. Just about surviving in that section. You can see it's not the best for battling maybe, because you'll be in the air a lot. So if you get pushed in the air, it's going to be very difficult to recover. So that is not a good section. Somehow saves it, Hillman. So it goes over these massive jumps. Get fully up to fifth. A bit wide. Maybe needs to change the gear and make it a bit longer for the main event. So that's better into the left hand. You've got to brake just before that jump. Go over that massive jump at the end, and even faster that line 102.3. But of course, Zach Osborne is faster. He's always faster in qualifying. This is Hillman's last lap. And hopefully we have another classic battle between the pair. Even though, once again, it wasn't really a battle. Osborne was just leading the whole way until mess up on that final lap. But of course, Hillman once again made a championship really interesting with Smith right up there on the KTM. He's not falling back. So if those three score massive points again, it could be another interesting race for the championship. As after this, you've just got 2 rounds remaining in New York, or in New Jersey, should I say, at East Rutherford in the MetLife Stadium, and then at the Soundboy Stadium in Las Vegas. But again, Hillman was pretty quick last season, but just made too many mistakes. So he's shown this season that he's cut down on the mistakes quite a lot. That's a pretty decent qualifying. So I expect Hillman to cut out the mistakes. Yes, we've had Indianapolis this season and Atlanta, but for the most part, he's been very good. And so has Zach Osborne in qualifying. Once again at the top by 6 tenths a second ahead of Smith, then Adam in third, Joe in fourth. And there's Hillman around at the top 5, and here's Varner just less than 8 tenths behind Osborne. A pretty good qualifying in for Hillman, but again, he'd be in the same heat as Osborne, as Adam, Hasdin, Fernandez in 7th, just behind Alex Martin, Christian Craig, then Mitchell Harrison, and Lorenzo rounds out the top 10 ahead of RJ Hampshire, Cole Peters, Karen McAdoo, Travis, and Benny ran out the top 15. So what can Kev Hillman do in the heat race? Can he win it again, just like last time out? As here we are, looking at high side, revving up alongside Adam and Osborne and Fernandez as the gates drop and get underway for this 4-minute heat race. Osborne got crowded out at the start there. He's going to this fast left-hander to begin with, and Hillman almost sticking the whole shot, taking it very inside line, but he does take the lead. Head of Adam, RJ Hampshire with another good start. That's all Adam gives Hillman a bit of a tap there. Trying to go round is the Kawasaki. Trying to push this Husqvarna around. Didn't change the gearing. Forgot to do that. Did Hillman. Let's look at Michael Cook. Fantastic start in his Yamaha. To go through this very tricky last section, you get it slightly wrong. Hillman taking it pretty well. Even though he cased that jump. He's going to be casing a lot of them, I get the feeling. in this heat race and main event if he makes it through, which he is doing so far. Just riding away from the opposition. Oh, he hits the blocks though. That's not too bad at the end of those jumps though. He's got to go under the bridge. And through this fast left-hander, just keep that rear end intact. It's a bit like that right-hander in Detroit. Just make sure you keep that rear end intact, not sliding too much. Goes over the woods. I'll use a bit more of that rear brake in a couple of these corners, maybe just Hillman. He's got an over second lead ahead of Adam, and then over 5 second lead to Michael Cook in third. Zach Osborne in fourth. RJ Hampshire rounds out the top 5. As they're about to go onto the third lap. 101.7. Pretty slow that, but it's still leading by a second ahead of Adam. He's keeping up the pressure on his Kawasaki. And looks like Zach Osborne just settling for 4th for the time being. He's probably going to come alive on the next couple of laps though. Make his move on. Cook, he's right behind now. This is a bit too deep into the right-hander from. Then we'll make sure he doesn't do that in the race. Just goes through the left-hand again, carrying lots of speed into this section. That's much better. Oh, that's how you want to do that. As Michael Cook now dropping down to 5th behind RJ Hampshire and Zach Osborne. He's up to 3rd, and that's better. Getting it down to 1st gear as well, carrying more speed over those jumps. I think it's 7.7 second lead over Adam. Going to be caught by Osborne. Next couple of laps. Oh, Hillman, what are you doing? Hitting the blocks. Manages to cover quickly though. Something you probably wouldn't have done last season. So even in the little things showing improvement. In his first season in Supercross. There's now Dylan Fernandez up to 4th. Had enough of Cook being the top Yamaha. Here comes Fernandez. He's got Husqvarna, Kawasaki, Husqvarna, Yamaha. And I think Hampshire's on a Honda. So 4 different manufacturers in the top 5. Showing how competitive this series is. So that's just about alright from Hillman in that section. Not very good in this whoop section, no. Bit too much like a ship in rough waters there. He's 9 seconds ahead of Adam. He's loving this St. Louis track. As he finally sets to that time in the minutes. 1 minute point 8. That's even faster than qualifying, isn't it? I said that minute point 1 was slow, but still that's as quick as Osborne in qualifying. He still hasn't made the move on Adam, as we got 2 laps including this one. Remaining in this race as there goes the Yamaha block. Getting some airtime for his rivals there. Here's Hillman. Don't want to be doing that. He's going to the left-hander down to 3rd gear. Carry that speed. So that's a very good jump section. Maybe needs to scrub that last one though. So there we go. Finally gets into the whoop section. And all a bit high. But managed to make that work because Adam's still a couple of seconds ahead of Osborne behind. Fernandez settled into 4th. Hampshire in 5th. So that's wide again from Hillman. Where's he going? Needs to rejoin. There you go. He finally figured it out. Has to go into the final lap. Even with these little mistakes at the end of the lap, he's still got a comfortable lead as well. Just shows how good he is round here. It's a bit like Toronto early in the season, where he seems to have an affinity with that track. Showing it here as well. Bit like an MXGP, where he's very good around sandy Netherlands track, not Assen. We don't talk about Assen. Around the one early in the season. Oh, he goes cartwheeling. As I said in qualifying that, I'm sure he can cut out the mistakes. He does that. He's had a bit of a messy heat race, but thanks to his speed, he's able to still lead. As now he leads Adam by just 2.8 seconds. He's got Zach Osborne right in his tail, 9.3 ahead of Bit of Hampshire now, he's ahead of Fernandez. It's just one massive jump to go and Hillman wins the heat race. That's good enough in the end from Hillman, 3.1 ahead of Adam with Zach Osborne in third, RJ Hampshire fourth, Dean Fernandez fifth, Benny in sixth, top KTM ahead of Keith Searfoss in seventh, in the Honda ahead of Gus King and Mitchell Harrison make it through on his Yamaha ahead of Michael Cook, who was third at one stage, dropped to 10th in the end. Cameron McAdoo having to go through to the last chance qualifier, so does Alvin Reno. So can Hillman and Osborne finally have a battle in a race, and who will come out on top? As for reaching level 85, we get some new titles: Bronze Rider, Young Master and Fantastic. Hillman's definitely the latter.
The dirt surface inside the Dome at America Center in St. Louis, Missouri is some of the best you will find anywhere for racing. The riders love it because they know they can attack the track. If you want to be Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Champion, you need a great run here in St. Louis. He has the speed and the style that makes him a fan favorite. The riders are lined up. The gate is about to drop. Who will get the whole shot?
As you see, high side in the pole position spot, revving up the engine alongside Smith and Adam as the gates drop. Bit slow away, but you won't mind that heading towards this first corner. It's going to take that inside the line as all Smith runs wide, and Hillman gets the whole shot just ahead of Adam and Zach Osborne as he goes into the left-hander in the lead. Now over the whoop section, can he get this correct? No, he can't. He needed that on the opening of that. Try and build a gap over Joey, who's in second now ahead of his fellow Kawasaki. Christian Craig in fourth and Smith in fifth. As all Hillman just about survives that, a bike drifting in the air. As we go on to the first proper lap, Hillman leads. As he look further down, Dean Fernandez down to 17. Cameron McAdoo at the back with RJ Hampshire. Christian Craig down to fifth behind Jordan Smith. Goes through the right-hander, that's nicely done. Oh, very good section from Hillman as he tries to build a gap early on in this race. And Christian Craig, what a start from the Honda. You also saw Smith run wide in that early part. Well, they're starting that fast left-hander, but seems to have got away with it. As you see, Hillman much better over the whoop section and a bit wide into the hairpin. As he's got 1.9 taking out over Adam, who's taken back second from Joey. Kawasaki's doing war already. Doing war, doing battle, which is war. As that's a minute point 2. Hillman racing away at the start here. Zach Osborne down in 16th. That's why. Can get away, be comfortable in the second half of this race, doesn't need to push. But Osborne needs to push like hell for the whole of the race. It's Alex Martin up to 5th now. The Christian Craig is going to start dropping back on that Honda. Then Alex Martin will battle for around the top 5. Maybe see guys such as Fernandez and Osborne battle their way through the field, maybe battling for that top 5 at the end of the race. That's a long way away. As we're only a quarter of the way through it at the moment, but there's one man in the lead again who's dominating again. As I said, it's a bit like Toronto for Hillman. It's a bit like Minnesota this season, Daytona this season, Detroit in the heat races. Now you've got Cameron McAdoo at the back, Keith at the back as well. He was so good in the heat race. We've got Joey in second, Adam dropping down to 4th, but Smith in 3rd. Remember, he's tied with Hillman in points heading into this race in the championship. It's still a very good shot for Smith. There's Alex Martin up to 4th, Adam dropping like a stone on his Kawasaki. That's not good to see. The guy who was runner-up to Osborne, remember, last season. He's not having that good a time of it this season, though. So we're getting taken out wide line. That's not really working into that hairpin corner. He's 2.2 seconds ahead of Joey. He's sticking to the tail of the Husqvarna pretty well this race. So is Jordan Smith on the KTM. We've got Alex Martin. Not doing too badly. As what the hell is Hillman doing at the beginning of this lap? He's just killed his momentum. Got no speed. Now he's putting up the blocks. And that might have allowed Joey to be right in his tail. Look at that. 0.7 behind. It could be another Joey Hillman battle here between the former teammates. And we expect Hillman to race away. Well, that Joey's pretty damn good on that Kawasaki. Showing it again. And so is Smith as well on that KTM. Let's go into the whoop section. The bike's really terrible through that hairpin. But for Hillman, that's much better into the left-hand head, leading into the right. Leading on to the next lap. Still see Zach Osborne out of the top 10, is he? Steven Fernandez still down in 15th. There's all Smith ahead of Joey now. Now again, not very good for the championship for Hillman. As now he's got a 6.2 second lead. Joey's right in his tail this time a lap ago. Obviously made a mistake and got sucked into Jordan Smith as well. This KTM has a very powerful force field. That Kawasaki. So that's not too bad into the hairpin. Maybe again carrying too much speed. But it's working out for Hillman. As we go towards the end of another lap, halfway through this race. Hillman's led since the whole shot. And he goes into the 59s, 59.3. Zach Osborne in 11th. So Smith or Hillman could be leaving here. The red plate could be coming home. To the right, Husqvarna rider. Zach Smith still holding on in 5th. Adam clawing his way back. Hovden looks like he's dropping back up to 4th. Kawasaki's very strong. There's all Hillman's cartwheeling. Not when you want to be doing that. He still has a comfortable enough lead. Let's go through the hairpin, getting the back end out too much. 3.1 ahead of Joey. He's building the gap again to Smith. Or 2.7 seconds. Oh, and Hillman now clipping the inside there, the hairpin a bit offline. Makes it work over the last jump. 3.2 ahead of Joey. That's a much better jump section until he landed on the front. But he just about survives. He's got just over a quarter of the race to go. Hillman leading the whole way. One point for the championship. Jordan Smith on the podium. Zach Osborne outside the top 10 at the moment. But no doubt he's going to be working his way into that. Osborne. Still got time to battle for a top 5, maybe. We have Alex Martin. That's much better through that section. From Hillman through the whoops as well. Getting that rear end out. Getting much better acceleration. Once again having a poor lap, then responding brilliantly. There's Hillman. So it's a bit wide in the hairpin though. Sort of good final section. But he sets another 59. As there's Dean Fernandez down in 14th, RJ Hampshire in 15th. Oh! What are you doing, Hillman? Going over the blocks. That will allow Joe to be right in his tail again. Gotta stop doing this to yourself. Just when it's like you get into that flow, into that rhythm, he's making mistakes. And again, very poor into these jumps. But he's 5.4 ahead of Joey. So he has a comfortable enough lead this time. There's now Smith ahead of the Kawasaki. 4 seconds. Sees one of his main championship rivals winning. Does not want to be losing too many points to him. There's Smith. Look at that. He's already built quite a gap over Joey. He's being caught by Adam now for the podium. Oh, but Joey back ahead of Smith. That's 8 seconds behind. High side. Let's go into that hairpin. And then next up, we're going to have 3 laps, including this one, to go. So down the order. It's the Keith right at the back. Very different from the heat races. As he goes into the blocks, what are you doing, Hillman? He's going to have a horrible jump section now. Oh, he just about recovers it. As Adam now battling Smith. Smith off the podium. This has Farner and 2 Kawasaki's now. Oh, we like the nick of that for Hillman. Alex Martin still in 5th. Must have the popcorn out or something. There's Adam up into 2nd. He's really got a 2nd win this race. As we've got a back marker in front for Hillman. With a couple of laps to go. Oh, and Joey takes it back from Adam. Kawasaki's round 2. It's happening behind. Well, for Hillman, he's got 2 laps, including this one, to go. As we do have the Honda in front. He's had a horrible main event. Looks like he's way behind everyone else. There's all that inside block on the Yamaha block. We're setting the rim of this Husqvarna slightly. Hillman next to the inside, to the back marker. Into the inside through the left-hander. Got a good jump as well. And you can see 21st in front as well. There's a heck of a battle going on for 2nd behind. 3 riders separated by a 2nd. Heading on to the final lap of this race. So here goes Hillman looking to the inside. Oh, the back markers have no respect though for the race lead. He goes on to the final lap. See Christian Craig in the top 10. Dan Fernandez still not there. And it's Yamaha, a very disappointing race. Expect to see the Frenchman battling his way through. So here goes Hillman around the outside. Actually having to battle someone for once this race. There's a back marker who does not want to be that. Here goes outside line, inside into the left hand, and just about making it work. Oh, no! He's gone. He's cartwheeled. This is 10 seconds ahead of the chasing pack. There's now Adams off the podium. Got Joey up there now. With Smith in 3rd. Alex Martin still holding 5th. He's been very quiet with the popcorn in that position the whole race long. At 5 seconds off a podium. Someone needs by 5 seconds going into the final sector of this race. What a ride. After the disappointment of Indianapolis, he's been near flawless. As after 12 laps, Hillman wins by 5 seconds. It was much more comfortable than that, though he made a few silly mistakes. As Joey won that battle for 2nd by a 1.5 seconds in the end ahead of Smith, who was 2.4 ahead of Adam. And then Alex Martin rounds out the top 5 on his KTM ahead of the Suzuki of Carl Peters. And Travis in 7th, Christian Craig in 8th on the top Honda, and Zach Osborne down in 9th. Almost 7 seconds behind Craig and around 4.5 seconds ahead of Mitchell Allison rounds out the top 10. Dylan Fernandez in 12th, RJ Hampshire in 14th behind Cameron McAdoo, Alvin Reno in 15th with Keith at the back.
You can tell these guys have been doing their work during the week. They came into this race fast, strong, and ready to battle.
So Kev Hillman is your new championship leader again, gets the red plate by a single point ahead of Zach Osborne, with Smith just 5 points further back. Joey's still in with a shout, 14 points behind his former teammate, with Adam in 5th, just 22 points behind. It is very close between the top 5 with just 2 rounds remaining. Then Alex Martin in 6th, he's out of it unfortunately, but still very solid in the championship ahead of Mitchell Harrison, Dylan Fernandez, Christian Craig and Travis ran out the top 10 of Carl Peters. Cameron McAdoo has looking further back. You got Alan Pollard ran out the top 20. Donald Blaze ran out the top 30. As 38 riders now scored this season with the two Suzukis of the Roy McCown and Aaron Hamilton with a single point. Hang on, I'm pretty sure he got the whole shot. What are you doing here? As another fantastic ride from Hillman, pops his most dominating of the season. Ride suitably missing the ejector set by Alpine Science. Never let your guard down. What are you talking about, Ralph Sheen? He won by a country mile. As looking at his fans all in first place, high side, you have to defend it tooth and nail. No doubt about that. James maybe elbows out at the Midlife Stadium in East Rutherford next time out. Even if you're on top of the stands, you need to keep focusing, keep giving your all in every race. There's Karen Roberts, and no doubt Hillman will be doing that. Alpine Stars, they don't really treat much, do they? They send out many messages. As next time out is New Jersey, where Hillman was very dominant in wet conditions. We have similar conditions. We have a similar result to what happened in St. Louis. Next time out, South Watch, and we'll find out then.